we are interviewing the CEO and founder of Impress The Ivies, Jessica Yeager. My name is Therese Chastity.
And my name is Rahul Kabura.
So, Ms. Yeager, could you explain to us exactly what Impress The Ivies is?
Absolutely. So I help high-achieving high school students get into their dream colleges. So that means I help them with applications, interviews, all that stuff that goes into getting into college.
Yeah, so which tip would you say influenced your students the most?
Ooh, that's a good one. So I think there's a lot of tips, but one tip that I think is different than a lot of students here is that colleges, especially elite colleges like Harvard, Stanford, Ivies, those kind of schools, they're not really looking for well-rounded students. They're looking for a well-rounded student body, which means they want those students that have really gone deep into something that they care about, that they're interested in, and made an impact in their community, whether that's just their school or their family or the world.
Yeah.
So sometimes students think they have to do every sport and every club, and they just run themselves ragged trying to do 20 activities, when that actually can hurt you when you're applying to these schools, because you can look like you don't really know what you want to do, and it's really hard to be amazing at 20 things. It's much easier to be amazing at one or two things.
Yeah. So in all these interviews, we kind of like to have this signature question. So for this interview, it's what is the origin of your company's roots, or your company roots?
So the origin of my company roots is really from me. When I was applying to college, when I was in high school, I didn't really have that much guidance with what I was doing, but I felt like I had really good test scores and grades, and I cared about things, and I thought that I had a good chance to get into some really good schools. And I ended up getting into a lot of really good schools. I got into Harvard, Yale, MIT, Stanford, Cornell, Columbia. And I know that there's a lot of students that are like me that don't really know how to apply to these kind of schools. They might be, maybe the first one in their family or the first one in their school to really apply to these schools. So I wanted to help students and get more information out there. So I started my blog, Impress The Ivies. And once I started doing that, I had parents reach out to me to help their students. And I've tutored since I was in 7th grade. So I've always loved working one-on-one with students. And so this gave me a chance to do that and really help students with figuring out this whole college application thing.
So getting into all of these colleges is an amazing feat, and I think what's even more amazing than getting into these colleges is using it in a way that you can incorporate it into your own life for your professional work and I think it might be even outside of it because it's something you're passionate about. So what 3 factors do you think allowed you to achieve getting into all these Ivy League colleges at your age and our age?
Absolutely. So that's a really good question. So I think one of the factors I already sort of mentioned was having something that I cared about, that I was passionate about, having sort of a vision for my life, even in high school. And I think some students find that a little intimidating, but it's important to remember that you don't have, what you care about, what you're passionate about can change like a million times during your life. So it's not something that you have to commit to for the rest of your life, but it's really good to sort of know where you want to go.
Yeah.
The second one I would say is I didn't have anyone in my life that told me I couldn't do it. So I didn't have people to see examples. I didn't have examples in my life of students that were around my age that applied and got into these schools. But no one told me, "You're crazy, Jessica. Why are you even trying this?"
Yeah.
I think that's really important. So if you have people in your life, maybe they're friends or acquaintances that kind of bring you down and discourage you from trying new things or trying something that might be out of your comfort zone, to me, that is not a person you want to hang out with if you can help it. So that's the other thing that I think is really important, is just making sure you surround yourself with people who are positive and really boost you up and encourage you to try these things that might be, you know, a little different, a little outside of what everyone else is doing. And then the third one I would say is, I mean, this one's kind of something that just sort of goes without saying, but when it comes to these schools, you really have to have awesome GPA, awesome test scores. That's just how it is to be competitive. One stat that I like to mention is I think there's something like 18,000 high schools in America, right? So that means there's at least 18,000 valedictorians every year. And that's not including schools that have like 10 valedictorians, right? Yeah. So you really have to put in the effort when it comes to your schoolwork and your tests and your ACT and SAT to just get to that competitive level if you're interested in these types of schools. Yeah. And I will say, even if, let's say, you know, for whatever reason that you're just not at that sort of really top of your class, it's still really important to make sure your GPA is as high as it can be and your test scores are as high as they can be, because that can mean hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of scholarships. It can mean getting into really prestigious programs at schools that aren't, you know, in the top 20 of the U.S. News and World Report, but are in the bottom 50 and still amazing schools that you can maybe get into a special program or, like I said, a full tuition scholarship. So it's really important to take those tests and your school really seriously.
Yeah, so when you created Impress The Ivies, was like your high school experience the most important thing that like shaped it?
And like was your GPA and the classes you were in kind of part of that, like the high school experience?
Yeah, so I would say a big part of it was my high school experience. It was also, like I said, working one-on-one with students and just, you know, having a story that I wanted to tell. With respect to the classes I took, so I was valedictorian in my high school. I went to a small Catholic school, so I couldn't take, you know, 11 APs like students can take now. But I took the most rigorous course load that was available to me. And not only that, but during the summers of my sophomore and junior year, I went to sort of camps at local colleges, and I took some courses there. So I didn't just do what was available at my high school, but I also went outside my high school to seek other opportunities. Just something I really recommend for students, because if you're just doing what is given to you, you know, you can do really well doing that, but it looks even better. It sort of really showcases your ingenuity and your ability to strike out on your own if you go outside of the normal things that are just, you know, open to you and look for other opportunities.
Yeah, so what you're saying is like basically go outside the box, right, and try helping in any way you can.
So in these activities that you do over the summer, what do you think is the best one? Like, is it an internship, just taking a course?
So that totally depends on the student. I would say that the summer programs offered by colleges, like I went to one that was offered by Washington University in St. Louis. Those are really good because they demonstrate to the college that you are able to compete and do well at college level. So colleges don't want to accept students who they think might fail out of the school, obviously, right? So if you can show them, hey, I took this college level course at this competitive school and got an A, that shows them that you're ready for college. and that's really important. So that's one of my favorite ones, and I would also say I got a scholarship to go to that program. They offer financial aid. Often they offer a lot of financial aid for those programs, so don't think, oh, I can't afford that, so I can't go. Try to apply for the financial aid as well.
So, going to Ivy League colleges is not only about getting a higher degree of education, but it's also about networking. So what networks allowed you to expand your horizons in these colleges that you went to? And are there any specific people that you'd like to point out that really helped you go the extra mile?
That's a really good question, because I often tell people, I don't think Harvard gives you a better education than any other college. I think your education is really up to you, and as much effort as you put into it, you're going to get that out of it. Yeah. So I wouldn't go to Harvard, for example, just based on the education alone. But one of my biggest reasons to go to Harvard was the people that you're surrounded with. So exactly what you pointed out was the networking. And I think, well, I wouldn't say there's anyone in particular that I would call out for this. I think the biggest thing is it really changes your mindset. Yeah. So it makes you, when your friends are doing things that seem crazy, like appearing on Conan O'Brien or winning Olympic medals, and these are just your normal friends who you eat Chinese food with at 2 a.m. Yeah. That tells you that, wow, I can try a lot of different things, and some of them might pan out. Those things are achievable now, instead of always seeming unachievable. So that's what I would say is one of the biggest gifts that I got from Harvard, was just being surrounded by people that push themselves, that challenge themselves, and really reach amazing heights that, I wouldn't have thought. I wouldn't have thought my friends would be doing these crazy things, but they are. Yeah. So I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, so when you went to MIT, was it kind of like the same idea, or was it a bit different?
So I went to MIT for grad school, and I would say grad school is always going to be a little different than undergrad. Yeah. It's just the classes are much more concentrated on what you're interested in, so that was great. I definitely made lifelong friends at MIT in my program, which was awesome. Yeah. And I also, part of my program, so I studied environmental engineering, and part of my program I got to go and do research in Singapore, which was a really cool experience for me. So I would say that from a experience department, they're very different, because it's just going to be different when you're an undergrad versus grad. Yeah. But I was still surrounded with people that really push themselves, that challenge themselves, that are achieving amazing things, that have inspired me to push myself and challenge myself and try things outside the box.
So with these people that you met in MIT and Harvard, have you communicated with them outside of these schools, and have you tried to start anything up with them?
Oh, of course. I'm very good friends. I have many very good friends from those schools. A lot of them are in different fields, which I think is it's a really nice compliment, and really shows you, I think it's important to surround yourself with people who are interested in different things. Like, I have lots of friends who are doctors, as you can imagine, going to Harvard, and so you get to know all about med school and all of these other things that go into being a doctor. And so I wouldn't say I connect with them on specific things, but we do, encourage each other and are really good friends.
So, in these connections, I heard a quote once: "Diversity is the way to get a better opinion." I went to Microsoft for a school trip for Future Business Leaders of America, and the guy said diversity is the best way to get an opinion, because if you want to produce an idea for starting a company, or if you want to get an idea reviewed, you want to go to people from this department and this department. You just want to get all of their inputs and try to keep it together. In MIT, were you able to get everybody together in one area to kind of discuss something, or was it kind of freelancing it, going one person to one person?
So I worked on a project, like I said, in Singapore, and that was a group project. So I had 4 people in my group, and so we did have different ideas, and we had goals that we needed to achieve that we worked together to achieve. And we had people from different backgrounds, different diversity of thought, I would say, and that definitely did help us think about things that if maybe we ran into a problem, helped us solve it, and those kind of things. So I definitely think that is true, and I think that both Harvard and MIT encourage students to work in groups and do that sort of thinking and generating ideas and coming up with solutions as a group. Because the reality is that's what you do in the workplace.
Yeah.
So doing everything on your own, that's simply not how the real world is. So if that's all you're being taught, then once you go into a job, it can be really hard to now work with other people and need to take other people's opinions into account. So I think that those are really valuable skills that they definitely instilled at both Harvard and MIT. And I will say, like I said, I studied environmental engineering, so this might be particular to engineering majors, but I think I would guess that other majors would encourage the same.
Yeah, so I also know you started the Dreamhouse Summit, and I was wondering if the startup was kind of the same as Impress The Ivies.
So Dream College Summit was a little bit different. I had seen a couple virtual summits, and I thought this would be such an awesome way to get a bunch of really great experts and top experts in applications, essays, test prep, financial aid together for parents and students to consume in this really easy way. And so I had my first Dream College Summit last year, and it was really, really successful. So I'm doing it again this year, actually. I'm not sure when this is going to run, but it starts August 28th of 2017. And I basically doubled the number of speakers. So it's 26 experts. And like I said, we cover everything from the application to essays to interviews to test prep, all kinds of test prep, financial aid, even some parenting experts. So it's just a really awesome way for, like I said, students and parents to just be exposed to these amazing resources, these trusted advisors, and get it all in just a really great, easy to consume way. And the other great thing about it is once the video interview goes live, it's available for free for 48 hours. So 26 videos, all for free, that parents and students can watch and just learn so much good information.
Yeah, so what was the most important step you took in order to find your speakers?
It was all about my networking and connections, like you were talking about. And a lot of them I had reached out to either for guest host opportunities or podcasts, and so I was able to connect with a lot of them, and almost all of my speakers from last year were able to join again this year. And then another thing that I did was I asked the speakers who joined if they had other recommendations for speakers, because usually people know, another person and that person knows someone. And so that's how I got my speakers. So it was really all about networking.
Yeah, so you basically used your networks.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's something we discussed in the last interview. Like the guy, Steve Borner, he said one of the most important things is just using your network. And we were like, what does that mean for a second? And then we were just like, wow, that's pretty ingenious, and it's kind of simple as well.
It is, and the other thing I would say is people love connecting people. I don't know if you've ever introduced a friend to another friend or thought of someone thought of someone like, oh, you should meet this person. But people, I mean, I love connecting people. People like contributing to your success. And so I think you should never shy away from asking people, hey, do you have someone that I should talk to, or do you have any suggestions on this? Because often people love giving you that kind of advice.
Yeah. All right. For the end of the interview, we have one question that we always have done. And
Okay.
I think this might be the most important question because it pertains to me in particular.
And me.
Yeah, and him. So what would you recommend the next generation of entrepreneurs do to pursue their passion as high schoolers?
That's really good. So I would say the most important thing is to actually do things and actually try things. So don't just, sit at home and dream about what you're going to do, but just go out there and try different things, because that's what every entrepreneur does. They try and they fail, but they fail fast, right? I'm sure you've heard that. So it's just so important to try things, because I think there's a lot of people who are just so afraid of failure that they don't try anything.
Yeah.
And that in of itself is a failure, right? If you never try, then you aren't challenging yourself, you're not pushing yourself, you're not going outside of the box. So I would say that's the most important thing, just try things. And if something doesn't pan out, that's fine. I'm sure you learned a lot of valuable skills that you can use for your next thing, whatever that might be. So don't think of, I wouldn't even call them failures, because if you learned anything, if you built your skills,
Then it's something.
it's not a failure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.